Walt Disney was the creator of the best known phenomenon that includes movies, TV shows, and the famous Disney World and Disneyland. It can be argued that Disney parks are cities America wishes it had, with Disney's innovations in technology and the organization of his parks almost gives guests the feeling of being in a utopian society, one Disney envisioned while creating his parks. The creation of Disney theme parks presents major themes in American culture. The physical design of the parks relate to the social structure of America and how Disney envisioned for a more structured world through his theme parks. Disney believed that technology could create happiness, order, and a more organized American society. Disney did not focus on the past or present. He focused on the tomorrow in order to make for a better world in the future. Disney theme parks are a mental map for the vision of paradise imagined by Walt Disney himself. Disney reflects an imaginary utopian world that Walt Disney wished we would one day live in, and by constructing these parks, he is embedding the idea into public minds. Disney is simply a fabricated land, symbolizing a key landscape for modern America. Separation and specialization of personnel and functions at the kingdom is the result of many years of thought and design by Disney and his team, which is thus an ideal model of the American corporate state. A hierarchy of employees can be seen in a physical structure, which goes human workers, Disney's Imagineers, and then the billion-dollar industry led by Disney and his brother Roy. A central idea behind Disney is that technology can be used to run things efficiently for maximum benefit for all. In Disney's imagined world, people are treated in a humane way. Disney envisioned his utopian society to be one that was organized, clean, and one where everyone was treated fairly. In the parks, Disney did not want anyone to feel pressured and frenzied as their guests were to be treated with courtesy and made to feel relaxed. As one way to keep things calm and efficient for guests, the parks were scaled and designed for the pedestrian. Disney wanted to imagine a world with no pollution, and he did so by banning cars and introduced electric, pollution-free people movers. In a way, Disney was against certain technologies such as cars, believing we could do without them, while at the same time, he embraced certain technologies such as robots that created the illusion of alive Disney characters. At the heart of Disney's creation is applied science. The programming and engineering is done by Disney's Imagineers. Behind every magical thing in Disney, there is a person working behind the scenes to create a robot that brings happiness. This can be related to a modern American society because it appears we are not happy anymore unless we have our technology in hand. Sometimes real-life happiness is unreasonable, so robots replace what cannot be done in real life. A way Disney wanted to make his guests feel happy was to make them feel as if they were in a movie. He created replicas of humans and animals. As you can see here, the Yeti is created for Animal Kingdom's Yeti ride. The prototypes of such robots were originally the brainchildren of engineers working under the prod of Walt Disney's restlessly progressive vision in the early 60s, before computers and modern electronics were able to do the controlling. The theme parks are a testing ground for urban technology, and in Disney's words, he is creating a new concept of family entertainment in which the originality of the rides has created a reputation for technical expertise and progressiveness. Disney's Haunted Mansion is an example because of the stereophonic sound and electronic turns programmed to show the way the movie camera sees. On the most basic level, Disneyland is one of the most intelligently conceived pieces of architecture in America. The structure of the parks are able to serve large numbers of people comfortably with no loss of efficient revenue production. This image demonstrates interesting and convenient ways to break up lines to make them appear smaller than they actually are, giving guests the illusions of the lines moving at a faster pace. Disney's interest in urban planning came from his direct experience and despair with Los Angeles. In the city, there are problems with transportation, overcrowding, alienation of city dwellers, and a huge metropolis formed mainly of suburbs without a cohesive atmosphere. Problems like this created Disney's focal point for imagining a better community in the form of his theme parks through the use of technology. By using and improving on technology, Disney was led into what was called the great frontier of technology after aerospace research. Disney is an optimist about the world. He tried to avoid current issues to imagine a better future. A sign at the entrance to Disneyland reads, "Here you leave today and enter the world of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy." Walt Disney is intending to imply that when you enter his world, you leave behind the present and live in a world where you forget about everything that is going on currently and you focus on fixing the future. Disney produced television programs dedicated to his own optimistic views of technology and the future. In the 1950s and 60s, a television series called Disneyland aired. It showcased futuristic technologies and space exploration in conjunction with the theme park. The series encouraged the audience to contemplate a bright future while predictive constructive things to come. The show trumpeted science and technology and implied that contemporary America needed it. Disney television show also showed concern over overpopulation, technology, atomic wars, mass society, and the pathologies of an industrialized, urbanized system. The series was to accompany the rise of countercultures in the New Left in the 1960s. Disney shared concern and offered solutions to these situations in the form of his television shows. Theorist Herbert Marcuse came up with the idea of the one-dimensional man, which was a foundational text for the New Left published in 1964. It was heavily criticized for envisioning an industrial society that robbed human beings of their individuality, freedom, and creativity. For Disney, he strived to embrace those virtues that the New Left and the one-dimensional man want to take away. Epcot, which stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, suggested innovation could restore or protect values of cities that were filthy, dangerous, and congested. Going back to his people movers, he believed they would reduce pollution, traffic, overcrowding, and improve the overall health of communities. The Tomorrowland portion of the complex is where Disney planned to showcase futuristic technologies. Technological innovations that were developed promised to rescue humanity from its own failings to liberate space colonists from a crowded and chaotic planet. Disney believed that rocket scientists would harness technology to create cleaner and more orderly settlements in space, just like 19th century explorers had struck out from the urbanized East. The television series based off of Tomorrowland was called Man in Space. The typical themes of techno-science did not fit into a sort of family-orientated narrative, so Disney insisted that Tomorrowland episodes be called science factual. For this reason, no one was quite sure how to portray the future. It appeared that at times, looking into the future may have overwhelmed some people, thus making a theme park like Frontierland more popular than Tomorrowland. Unlike Tomorrowland, Frontierland made guests feel nostalgic for the past. Images of the future were being shown at a terrifying pace in Tomorrowland, causing people to become increasingly skeptical about the future. As time progressed, particularly in the late 1980s, Frontierland was the future people wanted, as monorails and shiny zip-up jumpsuits were not exactly the future Disney had predicted. Overall, Disney was definitely a man of the future, looking at what is best for future generations and how current problems in society can be fixed in the future with his innovative technologies and models for American culture. Disney was certainly an inspiration for inspiring the way we live life today, constantly focusing on a better future ahead.